everyone, good morning. 11:30 on the clock. It's time for Market Fatafat right here on ET. Now with me, Mubina Kapasi. Markets certainly are on a strong footing, which means we have lots and lots of movers and shakers, which we are going to try and cover over the next half an hour. Let's introduce then our guests who will be joining us on the show. We have with us, as always, Soumya Sharma and Siddharth Bhamre. On the technicals, Kunal Bothra. And we're going to be joined by Sameet Chauhan of Angel Broking. So, welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining in. But before we kickstart the show, here's a very, very important update. And that is with respect to Essar Steel. The saga may be over, but the story continues. Let's call it a sequel, if we can, to the battle. And this time around, it's moved from the NCLT to the NCLAT. Yes, unsurprisingly, the Ruias have knocked on the doors of the NCLAT against the NCLT order that allowed ArcelorMittal to take over Essar Steel. Neha Bothra, who tracks the story very closely, joins in now. Neha.
Indeed, Mubina, as you pointed out, this really is the sequel. We don't know which part because there have been so many twists and turns. But yes, one may expect this to be the penultimate before we see the climax, because remember that NCLAT had earlier rejected Essar Steel's offer for buying out Essar Steel. The Ruias offer was put down by the court. In fact, on Friday, NCLT Ahmedabad bench had given the green light to ArcelorMittal to take over Essar Steel. But as we did tell you on Friday that the Ruias were seeking a stay on the NCLT order, saying that they had an appeal at NCLAT, which would be heard 14th March onwards. At that point, the court had asked them to examine legal options. And as very anticipated, today they have moved NCLAT, seeking a complete stay as far as the order issued by the Ahmedabad bench of NCLT is concerned, which had allowed and even cleared ArcelorMittal's resolution plan worth about 42,000 crore rupees to acquire Essar Steel. Now, this comes as a big development, even though anticipated, because it means that there's another spanner in the works as far as all stakeholders are concerned. But we do expect this to be not a roadblock as such, because this was something that stakeholders had anticipated. But remember that NCLT, in its judgment, had very categorically stated that the judicial view cannot supersede the wisdom of banks. And given the fact that 92% of the COC had voted in favor of ArcelorMittal's resolution plan, there's very little room for the promoters to maneuver or manipulate the case going forward, according to experts we've been interacting with, who've been keeping a tab in this entire matter for over 580 days now. And more importantly, the Supreme Court had also held the constitutional aspect of IBC. Thereby, a lot of grey areas have already been addressed, and it's only a matter of time before LN Mittal can officially take over Essar Steel from the promoters.
All right, Neha, thanks a lot for that. So we'll keep you posted as and when NCLT does accept their request, the Essar request or the Ruias request, and of course takes forward the hearing. For now, let's just shift our focus back then to the big movers and shakers today in trade. And well, continuing with the story of ArcelorMittal taking over Essar Steel, we have the PSU banking space that surely is buzzing in trade. But Soumya, for SBI, very important news for the savings account holders as well in the bank.
Well, yes, Mubina, starting with the the company has actually moved to floating rate on saving deposits and has announced linking of interest rates on the saving deposits to the repo rate. Well, on this stance, Morgan Stanley is maintaining an overweight stance with a target price of 375 per share, and they believe that this movement is a big change and would over time help in reducing the margin volatility. Well, apart from this, like we were talking about the Essar Steel resolution case, SBI stands to be the biggest beneficiary here since it's the largest lender to Essar Steel with an exposure of 13,652.8 crore rupees.
All right, so that of course is SBI, 2.3% higher today in trade. Kunal, why are you flagging off Cholamandalam?
So, many of the stocks from the space are buzzing. We talk of L&T Finance, we talk of, very, very similar stocks, but more high beta in nature. But even Chola Finance in that aspect, I think, is showing some robust trends. Many of the stocks which, I mentioned earlier, they've managed to just about break out of the 200 moving average. Chola Finance is just about in touching distance of breaking its 200 moving average. I think it's almost 8 or 9 rupees higher from current prices. And I believe, given the momentum in the entire space, even this stock could be, seeing some sharp momentum on the upside. So I'm suggesting a buy on Chola Finance at current levels, targets of 1380 and stop loss at 1295.
Okay, so that of course is Cholamandalam for you. Samit, can't help flag off these OMCs. It's not just a move seen today, but for the last couple of sessions. And as we speak, HCL is perched at the day's high. What's your view?
I'm Abhinav. Yeah, clearly all the OMCs have been on a roll since last many weeks. Within this space, BPCL has been our preferred pick, but HPCL certainly looks good. The way it has moved up in last 4 to 5 days, stock has managed to come out of its concession zone, and today we are seeing a good bump up in this counter. And if I look at the volume activity, it has risen substantially, and thus going ahead, we expect continuation of this move, and this stock can move in tandem with its other peer counters BPCL. So any minor dip in this counter would be a good buying opportunity. A positional target would be around 288, 290. The stock has potential to move higher. One can keep a strict stop loss around 249.
Alright, so that's HPCL and Samit has quite an optimistic view here. Let's talk about Unichem. Meantime, the stock price from the word go has been gaining very, very smartly, and of course, it's seen quite a sharp spike, especially in the middle of the day so far. 2.8% higher, and most of the spike has actually come in on account of the fact that we did have news that the Ghaziabad facility, which is one of the only facilities that Unichem Labs essentially has been inspected by the US FDA, and good news, 0 observations, which means the company can continue supplying to the USA, and of course that is indeed positive news coming in for Unichem Labs. Siddharth, Bajaj Auto, two-wheeler space in focus. What would you make of the move we are seeing today?
Well, Mumina, we are seeing that a comeback trend is visible in two-wheeler space, and especially Bajaj Auto. Our experts have been highlighting this stock, that how it's giving a breakout. And today, though stock has not moved much. Now it's up by 1% or so. But highest open interest built up in future segment today is in Bajaj Auto, and we are forced to believe that these are long positions because cash volumes are also high. So watch out for further upside in this name, and I think rally is not done yet in this two-wheeler major.
Okay, so the rally is not yet done in Bajaj Auto. That's what Siddharth believes. Kunal, Reliance Industries, the big giant of the Nifty. It's a 1.6% move seen today. What is your view here?
So yeah, 1.6% could probably look like a normal uptick for Reliance Industries, but when you look at this in the context of many momentum indicators, I think Reliance Industries is staging a breakout on 2 or 3 momentum oscillators. So MACD wise, in terms of RSI, as well as on the ADX front. So these 3 key divergent indicators are showing cumulative breakout on the daily time frame for Reliance Industries, and I believe that could be an added boost. I think a few months back we've seen a similar uptick in the indicators, and the stock had rallied almost 5 to 10% in a matter of 1 to 2 weeks. So I think Reliance Industries could be poised for yet another breakout on the upside. I have a target of 1325 plus and stop loss at 1270.
Okay, RIL 1.6% higher. Balaji Telefilms, meantime, and on Friday we certainly did see a lot of bulk deals. Balaji Telefilms was one of them, where promoter Shobha Kapoor actually bought 7 lakh shares at a price point of 87 rupees. So we are seeing some boost coming on account of that transaction, and the stock price of Balaji today in trade 1.6% higher. Samit, Vedanta, the metal counters today seem to be more or less bullish, more or less gaining at least today in trade. Overnight as well on the LME, we did see metal prices tick higher. Vedanta, with this 3% move, what would you make?
See, since early part of February, we have been quite upbeat contra buyers on metals names. Tata Steel, Jindal Steel, and JSW Steel. They were our preferred pick. They've already given a decent move, and Vedanta has underperformed a bit. But in last couple of weeks, we have seen a V-shaped recovery in this counter. Stock had a massive gap down opening on 1st Feb, so it is now trading around the lower end of that massive gap down. So 180 is the level to watch out for. But going ahead, we expect further upside in this counter, and this stock can easily fill this gap, which is in the zone of 180 to 190, 192.
All right, 2.8% higher, and Samir seems to be very optimistic on Vedanta as well from here on. So, Amya, important news for Siddharth Infra. The stock price certainly is buzzing today in trade.
Well, yes, what we're gathering from the reports, Canada Pension Plan Investment Board is in advanced talks to acquire 12 operating road assets of Sadbhav Infrastructure Projects Limited. Well, the deal is expected to be around 400 to 500 million US dollars, which approximately tantamounts to 3,000 crore rupees. Well, what we also gather from the reports is strategic investors such as Italy's Trade, Cube Highways, Canadian pension funds such as CDPQ are also in talks to acquire stake in Sadbhav Infra.
All right, Sadbhav Infra inching towards 198 rupees on that counter. Siddharth, Canara Bank, the entire PSU banking space certainly is throwing up very optimistic signs today.
Well, yeah, you mentioned in your opening remark that banking space is doing well, not just PSU but also private space. Observations from PSU are coming more on CanBank, obviously because of the rise in open interest, substantial rise in OI. We are seeing that the stock is now decisively moving above its 200 DMA, and 285, 290 resistance is the next big resistance, and which is still far away from current level movement.
Okay, well, we'll take a very quick break right here on Market Fatafat. Do stay tuned, the countdown will continue. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. Very quickly then, let's continue with the countdown and continuing with the theme of PSU banks. Kunal, Indian Bank, big buzzer today.
So yes, Mubina, many of the PSU banks have been showing some, decent, rallies, and we are not talking of just about, rallies which fizzle out, but these are more sturdy rallies because then they are backed by volumes. You see less corrections or less retracements for these stocks, and a free-flowing tendency of these stocks to manage to break their swing breakouts. So I think that's a very positive sign, even for Indian Bank, which is now trading at close to swing resistances. I believe that if the stock breaks those swing resistance around this 260 to 262 mark on spot levels, it could rally till almost 280 levels as well. So Indian Bank could be a good bet about those 260, 262 resistance points.
All right, that's of course the view on Indian Bank, 2% higher. IDBI Bank, meantime, and yes, after SBI and Edelweiss ARC, this as well is going to be a big beneficiary on account of the fact that the Essar steel, debt has finally been resolved, at least at this point of time. For now, the Ruias, of course, has taken this case further to the NCLAT. So let's see what's the outcome over there. But for now, of course, this nod is something that's giving a big leg up to these PSU banks. And of course, additionally, we do have reports suggesting that the bank will be selling loans worth 10,000 crore rupees. So let's see what comes out of that as well. Sameet, take a look at REC. Quite a downtake witnessed today in trade. What would you make of the chart pattern seen today?
No, I guess technically the stock is higher today. It is ex-dividend, trading around 134. The stock has been clearly outperforming since last many months now. We can see a series of high top, high bottom formations. So from here on, stock certainly looks good. It is poised for further upside move, that is towards 140, 142 over the next few days. So some kind of consolidation or breather maybe on cards, considering the fact the stock has already moved up, but any minor dip from current level would be a good buying opportunity.
Okay, that is REC, 6.3% lower today in trade. Soumya, order win for Dilip Bilkon?
Yes, the stock has been buzzing on the back of this order win, and it's up by over 7%. Well, it has been declared as the lowest bidder for an EPC project in Maharashtra for an estimated value of approximately 480 crore rupees. Well, this project has to be completed within a span of 24 months.
All right, so that's Dilip Bilkon, 7% higher today in trade. Kunal, ICICI Bank, why you flag? Pardon me, before that, Siddharth, RBL Bank, 1.9% higher today in trade. What would you make of the move?
Well, banking space doing well. New all-time high for RBL Bank as we move higher, and we are seeing this is done, Mubina, with formation of long position. One more point I want to highlight here is that today the cash volumes in RBL are substantially high. Now, if you look at last 4-5 trading session or few more, you can add few more into it. The way volumes are happening in RBL, it seems to be accumulation happening in RBL. So yes, there would be people who would say that there has been sharp run up and probably stock is ripe for some profit booking. Yes, but after that profit booking, that stock can go much higher. That's what statistics are revealing.
Okay, RBL is 1.9% higher today in trade. And Kunal, ICICI Bank?
So, remember that couple of, months back, a lot of the, analysts, fundamental technical guys, they were talking of ICICI Bank as one of the top, bets. The stock, remained in a sideways range. But then look at it in the context of the last 4 months. The stock dragged from 385 levels to almost 330, 335. in a 2-month or a 3-month consolidation, and just in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you see the stock coming back to those 375 levels from those support zones. So I think it's a sign of a very strong stock, and a stock which is going through a consolidation, but again raring to go on the upside. So I believe ICICI Bank could break out yet again in the near term on the upside. Short-term traders could look at a 385 plus as a target, and positional players could look at a buy and 400 plus as a target.
Okay, that's ICICI Bank as we speak near the day's high. Power Mech projects, we just had the news appearing on your screens just a while ago, and that is with respect to an order win. It's worth 1,239 crore rupees, and as you can see on your screens, we've seen quite a sharp spike come by after the company has won that order. It is at the day's high 4% higher. Samit, while most of the metal counters seem to be gaining very smartly, Nalco has declined, and for the last 1 to 2 odd months, we've seen quite a drop come by in the stock price to now just 58 and 59 rupees. In fact, now 53 rupees. What would you make of this move?
See, this stock has two gone. It's ex-dividend today itself. Recently, we saw good recovery in this counter from lower levels, and the stock is clearly rebounding along with its metal counters. It's trading around its important resistance now, but next level to watch out for would be around 58.60, and going ahead, we expect the stock to continue this upward move, wherein this stock can head towards 58 to 60 rupees over the next few days.
All right. Yes, it's turned ex-dividend today, so that explains that 5% knock on the stock price. Soumya, big news for CG Power for their international business.
Well, yes, the company has identified various international businesses for divestment as discontinued operations for financial reporting. Well, the company is restructuring or winding down 5 of its international entities, and the non-cash impact of this entire reclassification is expected to be around 200 crores, but the exact quantum and the exact impact would be disclosed in Q4.
Okay, so that's CG Power, 2% higher in trade. Very quickly then, Siddharth, Motherson Sumi as well, big loser today in trade.
If you look at the stock price, it's been gaining, Mobina, and I won't blame you for that, because if you look at Bharat Forge and Motherson Sumi, these two stocks have been in a downward trend, and day in and day out they have been going down, but we are seeing some change in trend now, especially Motherson Sumi. It has breached its a resistance zone of 168 and moving higher, and this is coupled with high volumes and formation of long position. So stock is doing pretty well. Mind you, the short covering is done. Now we are seeing fresh formation of long position in some of these auto ancillary names. So that's a trend changing move in these names.
Okay, so that's Motherson Sumi. I stand corrected. The stock price is actually gaining today in trade, 171 rupees. Kunal, Jindal Steel, meantime, what are you observing in this steel major, especially after that rise we've seen off late today as well? That seems to be continuing.
Mubina, so the metal stocks continue to shine. But I think, not just from a trading point of view, because I've been reiterating that many of these metal stocks, which were clobbered in the last few months, I think they are showing, completely different signs, what it was, a couple of months back. There's more, stability into the stock prices. The trends are more robust, into these names. And even for a high beta space or a high beta stock like Jindal Steel, which is nearing a swing breakout around that 170 mark, I think it could be an interesting bet. It's a high beta stock, so I would place a target closer to 190 levels for Jindal Steel. Above 170 is where one could look to buy. Stop loss to be kept at 165.
All right, next stock, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, quite an uptick today in trade. In fact, it's been a very busy stock of late. Of course, first we had that ET now exclusive with respect to India Bulls Housing looking for a stake in the company. Subsequently, of course, fundraising, a board meeting rather held for fundraising, in which they decided that they are going to go for a QIP to meet their fund requirements. So today we are seeing the stock price rise. Sameer, the entire sugar pack is losing. Praj Industries as well. You could say it's that ancillary, stock in the sugar space. What would you make of the downtick today?
See, we have to understand that when the entire broader market was seeing a meltdown, all those sugar stocks have already given twofold returns. They have been clearly bucking the trend, and in last 5 to 6 months we have already seen massive stupendous rally in those stocks. So obviously some kind of consolidation or profit booking was quite overdue. Praj Industries, which has been clearly enjoying its bull run, it is now undergoing some kind of time-wise and price-wise consolidation, but any minor dip would be a good buying opportunity, and in case of higher moves from current level, traders can look to take some money off the table.
Okay, just about near the day's low for Praj Industries. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you on this edition of Market Fatafat. Sameer, thanks so much for joining in and sharing your technical strategies with our viewers. Soumya, Siddharth and Kunal to you as well. Coming up next, of course, is Markets at Noon. Stay tuned for that.